So I will most definitely be not the first, but also not the last to say that 2024 was certainly something else. And it'd be easy for me to talk about my own personal experience and everything that happened, graduating from high school, going to college, going through all this unique stuff. But maybe it's me, I'd rather take a look at the genuine events of the world that interested me most this year in terms of art, in terms of entertainment, in terms of just the human race in general, and also maybe a bit of a prelude as to where we are going um tomorrow, depending on when you're seeing this. So I'll just get right into it. Probably one of my favorite bits of 2024 to see this year was specifically in regards to just entertainment, I would say. Also, if I keep looking this way, it's just because I have a lot of notes for this. So I'm just trying to make sure I stay on track. But in general, I really liked a lot of the entertainment that was coming out of sort of most spaces this year, at least the niche spots where there were actually creative artists coming. A rise of pop stars is definitely one thing I noticed. I still argue that Olivia Rodrigo sort of like planted the seeds for this early 21, 22, the kind of more TikTok level, very popular social come up we're seeing. But definitely I saw it with three main figures, or I guess four or five. Definitely Charlie XCX. I mean, Brat Summer was a very big thing. And hey, she makes great music, even though Charlie has deserved her flowers for a while. I mean, are we forgetting Boom Clap? But Charlie definitely had a poppin' year. Sabrina Carpenter, especially. I know she's kind of in the same vein as Olivia Rodrigo, sort of on the Disney come up pipeline in this new wave. But, obviously, she earned her flowers as well. Same with Chappell Roan, I'd argue. Like, definitely, I know Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess came out last year, which would be 2023. But definitely this year was when her sort of popularity, I'd say, in the mainstream definitely seeped in a lot more spaces. Additionally, also, I've heard a lot about Gracie Abrams. I mean, not too much about it. I just heard she's a big name. Doechii's one that has me personally. You have to listen to Alligator Bites Never Heal. You have to listen to it. Amazing project, amazing songs, and I will forever stand by the fact that she had one of the best Stephen Colbert performances. One of the best performances on that show. Like, seriously, it was so creative, so energetic. Just, if you go and watch that, like, you will truthfully have a lot to love about it. So, Doechii, amazing year. And amazing year to all these pop stars. It's just very interesting seeing how they sort of build a lot of very unique careers through a lot of creative imagery and unique ways of doing things, captivating lyrics. I mean, I was at the bowling alley with some friends a couple days ago, and they were singing the Long Chapel Roan lyrics. Did I know them? No, but I'll give them credit where it's due. They love it, so I love it. And speaking of entertainment industry stuff, that Kendrick and Drake thing, truthfully, was crazy. I think we have to acknowledge that. That was insane. Deranged even. Like, it just... I remember when Like That was really popping, and I heard sort of the Kendrick verse, and a lot of people caught it surprised because he was uncredited on it. And then all just the pure shots he was taking when those seeped in, that was the most distinct part of it to me. Like, it just came out of nowhere, genuinely. And then I remember Push-Ups dropped, and I really messed with that. And I was like, oh, dang, Drake's low-key coming up with some heat. He's really hitting back with this. Then Kendrick kind of dropped Euphoria, so I was like, oh, Playing Ground's a little bit leveled here. But then 616 in LA hit, and then Taylor made Freestyle or whatever it was by Drake, which had like Tupac's AI voice that got, like Tupac's entire estate moved to get that song literally scrubbed from existence. So something about that. And then obviously we all know about Family Matters and the unfortunate 1-2 punch of Meet the Grams and Not Like Us. That was dirty work. And I'm not gonna lie, most people would argue that Not Like Us has been fleeced and wrung dry. I would say it's very hilarious the way it's been fleeced and wrung dry, because I'm sorry, to have a song that scathing, to just release it for anybody to react to, have it just pop off, to release the music video on, what was it, Juneteenth or something, and then to be going to the Super Bowl as the headliner of this next year, where he's going to be playing it a good 5 times. Hell, the concert where he played it 5 times. I just have to respect the dedication. I just have to respect the pure commitment to being so evil, you know? That was certainly a crazy one. And that held true with a lot of the projects in 2024 as far as music goes. People were going off. I don't think anybody who I love who released had a bad project, at least in my own opinion. My own personal, top pick of choice, Chromacopia by Tyler the Creator. Love that album, so many great songs, and I love the lasting value they're having, especially. If you ever really go and listen to that album, I might do a full video on Tyler later, but in general, it's just a very in-depth project, one of Tyler's most personal, one of, I'd say, his best up there. Not gonna say it's his dead best, but definitely it's another project that's very much up there, and I very much love it to death. And Saint Chroma is by far one of my favorite songs, and it is on repeat in my head mentally whenever I have a problem now. So it did its job. In addition to that, a bunch of other projects I really liked were Cowboy Carter by Beyonce. Definitely I put GNX by Kendrick somewhere in there. Orchideas by Kali Uchis. Short and Sweet was pretty good. SZA really waited until the last minute to get that SOS Deluxe out, but she held her promise, and I can't lie, the deluxe tracks were pretty good. Eternal Sunshine by Ariana Grande. Vince Staples dropped this year. Like, guys, I'm not gonna lie, it's a pretty stacked year. Like, as far as music, I don't think we can argue at all. It was a pretty stacked year, and that's just the ones I'm remembering off the top of my head. I'm sure I'm missing like 100 that were really, really good that you guys can surely remind me of. So minus that, another major sort of segment of events I'd say was the summer in general. Like, I know I touched on the whole Brat summer thing with Charlie a minute ago, and obviously the Kendrick Drake beef was folded into that, but can we also acknowledge that the Olympics happened? like maybe it's me, I hardly remember Tokyo 2020. Maybe that's because it took place in 2021 and because it was during the pandemic, so that kind of shorted out the attention span for anything. But this year's Olympics were properly very amazing. Like, I may have posted about it, but Beyonce's intro video for Team USA, one of the most creative uses of a song ever. I think that's what got me into actually listening to Cowboy Carter and going, these songs are pretty good. Like, because Beyonce definitely, if we were to get anybody to represent the USA in a captivating way around the world and get them to understand the assignment, Beyonce is your girl. So I can't even knock that. And definitely there were a lot of great viral moments. Like, I remember that Yusuf Dikek guy who literally held the gun out like he was John Wick or something. There was Simone's big wins. The entire gymnastics team, I think it was Hesley Rivera, Jordan Childs, Suni Lee. Like, they were all having big wins. The men's gymnastics team, let's not knock that they've won bronze now. Brody Malone is my boy, for real. And let's not forget Steven Nedorozic, Superman himself. Pommel horse champion. He tied the whole thing together. He was like, it was up to him, that cinch moment. I was watching the whole stream, and I remember I was just like, please, please, please. And when he finally did it, awesome. That's the energy we need. So, a lot of highlights with the Olympics. Definitely a lot of highlights. And low-key, everybody hates on Noah Lyles, but I wish he could have won. I wish he could have won for his little 3 for 3 and proved all the haters wrong and been a world champion. But, pride comes before a fall, so maybe it was deserved. Gabby Thomas did represent, though. Gabby Thomas, good on her. So, much love to Olympics and the Olympic glory this summer. In addition to that, Love Island. I know everybody says that UK and all the other versions are better, but USA Season 6 was actually really good. It is actually really addicting. I won't even lie. A friend put me onto it, and I was fully prepared to just hate on it, and I ended up being fully caught up on the entire show in like a week. And for reference, there were a straight 30 episodes to get through, and these were not short by any means. These were like an hour, hour 15, hour and a half, hour 40, depending on what was happening. So I was an addict. I was a straight addict. But Love Island was definitely a big event of the summer, I'd argue. That whole Cordell suitcase thing, funny as hell. Serena and Cordell winning, amazing. Just everything about it, just gotta love it. Gotta love that, like, a very interactive TV show like that. And that's just touching the surface of TV shows. I have a whole bunch here because so many shows either came back with great seasons or were just great on their own that really came out. I have here The Bear Everybody needs to watch The Bear. If you are watching this, please watch The Bear, because I need somebody to talk about that show with, because it is so good. There was The Boys season 4, Invincible for all of us deranged superhero fans out there. There was Arcane season 2, and literally the final season that just wrapped up. I still need to get to that. There was Only Murders in the Building season 4, Cobra Kai for season 6, X-Men 97, Abbott Elementary. Oh my god, no. I'm glad that this year Abbott Elementary is finally getting its flowers. It's finally getting that recognition that it always deserved, because I need this to be one of the long-standing ones. For too long have we kind of relied on the 2000s era of sitcoms to pull us through for rewatchability. We pulled that through pandemic timing. Abbott's our new main one, y'all. And I need to catch up soon, because that It's Always Sunny crossover is coming, and I am nowhere near caught up yet. So we're gonna see how that plays out, and we definitely go work it out. So for sure, TV shows were great. And as far as just I don't know, I guess state of like entertainment in general, I'd say was pretty solid. Just one thing I kept noticing was just definitely how sequels kind of ruled this year, as far as even just box office was concerned. It didn't even mean that they were bad movies necessarily. I just want to make sure I get these notes properly up so I'm not absolutely tripping when I tell you guys this, but like almost all of the top grossing movies I remember were a sequel of some kind, because we're talking, hold on, just to be sure. Like if we're purely talking highest grossing from what I remember, sorry. Like if we're talking highest grossing from not only what I remember, but also from what I'm getting up here, most other things were sequels. Like it was what, Inside Out 2, Deadpool and Wolverine, which you could argue doesn't count, but still, like, sequel to Deadpool 1 and 2, Despicable Me 4, Moana 2, Dune Part 2, Kung Fu Panda 4, Venom 3, Mufasa that just came out, Sonic 3, even though that was great, still a sequel at the end of the day. Just, I guess a whole bunch of sequels, which I can't even knock, you know, people got to get their bag. Studios do what they do. It's just very much weird how the entertainment industry is kind of in this place where they have to rely on these sequels to even make money at all, but at the same time willingly choose to not fund in the effort for the very things that they rely on to make money. I don't know. I could go into a whole bit of rants of detail on that, but just something to keep an eye on, which I'm sure will only get better or even worse in 25, because, you know, we keep buying, so they're gonna keep coming out. But as long as at least they're good sequels, hey, what's there to complain about? Oh, okay. I almost forgot about this. Okay. 2 actors I gotta give props to this year as far as all their work was concerned. Ayo Edebiri definitely was one of them. And if nobody knows her, she was Cindy on The Bear. She had a recurring role in Abbott Elementary. She voiced April O'Neil in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, which, just to show you guys right quick, this movie right here, Godly, go see it if you have the chance, or at least see it if you ever have the chance to. Then, additionally, she also voiced Envy in Inside Out 2. Just, she's around. She was one of the really great actors on the up and up this year. And also Glenn Powell. I remember him from Anyone But You and also Twisters. I mean, not the most recognizable work, but still, he's a great guy. I just say he deserves those flowers this year while he's on the up and up. So, as far as the world of entertainment, you know, you could say we had a fun and creative time. But as far as other events were concerned, which I'm going to very much talk about in a semi-diplomatic way, it went kind of crazy. Like, I'm not going to knock you guys. 2024, definitely the biggest event this year was, at least by far, the election. Like, whether you did vote or not, regardless of who you voted for, regardless of how that went, it was certainly a time of just, like, intense emotion from what I remember. And maybe it's me, just being a college freshman in a campus where predominantly it's a lot of people's first time voting, regardless of who they voted for, the day after, it was just like, for reference, like maybe it's me, I go to a pretty big university relatively, it's like if you pulled all the soul out of it. It didn't help it was cloudy too, so everybody just looked like dead. Maybe it's me, everybody was just looking dead. So it was kind of a bit of a downtrodden nature to a certain extent. It also probably doesn't help that I know a lot of people who were hosting entire watch parties and staying up till 1, 2, 3 in the morning to confirm the result to keep refreshing. So certainly that was a big event of this year, in addition to the debates and everything that, people actively try to get involved in with campaigns and things like that. So certainly something to take note of. In addition, I also have to put one out for Hurricane Helene, which hit a lot of spots in my state. So very much to anybody who I'm sure is still affected by that, still having to rebuild, maybe regain electricity or anything like that, or just is struggling from the effects of that. Definitely you have my blessings. You have my deepest and sincerest just outpouring of love. And definitely I know that cannot have been easy this year, especially happening in like the heavy hurricane season of the fall traditionally. So I know that had to be a rough one. And certainly the only other ones I really have here are, I don't know, I just wanted to talk about it in general, but sort of the obsession this year I saw with microculture. Like these sorts of mini bursts or mini trends or mini outbursts of hate that just make the internet very, I don't know how to say it, but unenjoyable to use. Like I remember one was just whatever happened with Cooking with Kaya, how everybody was hating on the girl because she was saying she was going to take their man with some food. Lately, whatever was going on with Shameik Moore and everybody bullying him for simping after Haley Steinfeld. Just general trends of seeing people just need to buy into products to feel like, oh, I'm being different intentionally, or oh, I'm embodying this personality. Just bits and pieces of sort of these microcosms of culture that you end up seeing a lot of the time. And maybe it's me, it's just very much noticeable when it's something that could move forward a genuine discussion versus when it tends not to. And it also doesn't help that the way these sorts of bits of microculture are set up, these bursts, are to keep you engaged with the internet in general for longer, because we technically are the product. Let's not forget that. Like, if you're watching me right now, odds are you maybe had to watch a few ads to get through this, or maybe you didn't, or maybe you just watched ads on the video before this. Like, very much, we are the product in whatever scenario it comes to when we are given a service to use for free. That goes for any app. That goes for any general internet service. Like, if it is free, odds are we are the product or the transaction in that case to make money back. And I think seeing these bits of microculture are a good example of why it's good to be aware of this sort of stuff. And that also speaks to a general reliance on technology I saw a lot this year. Because, y'all, tech was bugging out this year for a multitude of reasons, but especially if you just looked anywhere. Like, maybe it was me, but the amount of times that I saw major Instagram crashes, major Facebook crashes, major YouTube outages, the airline shutdowns because Microsoft had a crash in their system, so numerous airlines couldn't get planes going off for days, or even the ChatGPT crashes during exam season, so students were literally saying, oh yeah, I'm just not going to be able to study. Maybe it's me, guys. Like, that's crazy. The fact that not even for tech companies as a whole, that technology is so deeply ingrained into our lives that entire barriers or entire constructs of work and fundamental functions of services that we use on a daily basis just don't work anymore. Like, that's crazy to me. Granted, we all knew it was heading this way when we implemented technology into so much, but it's certainly wild, and it certainly speaks to how reliance on technology, definitely as a society, it's going to be very interesting to see not only the control layer of it that people have been talking about, but how it shakes out in terms of feasibility, because all these crashes could really speak to a lot of things just like never working out, I gotta say. And the final thing I have on here is definitely just, I think if I were to give 2024 one theme as a whole that I can notice throughout all of these events and everything we sort of seen, is that we're all coming to a sort of crucial understanding of not only how the world works, but how we should move in that world going forward. And I think this was embodied in no better event than what happened with old boy Luigi, which I'm not going to joke about too much, but definitely seeing that event and very much the social media reaction to it of people showing little to no, I'd say, kind of little to no remorse or little to no true affection really towards what happened or the crucial event itself, and more so showing a lot of reverence for this guy who did this very thing. You know, it's kind of crazy to just see unfold in real time. It's kind of crazy to see 2020 documentaries on ABC where we actively use TikToks as sources or citing them as crucial bits of the public reaction, you know? And I think it speaks to a wider sense of how people as a whole are wising up to a lot of things, you know? A lot of not only what is good about our society as a whole, but what's bad about it. What we should embrace and what we should change. What is crucial for us to improve upon, and what is maybe crucial for us to sort of break down and deconstruct and have a genuine conversation about. And that's definitely one thing I'd ask us to carry on into 2025. Having that genuine conversation. Because there's one thing I've seen about a lot of these bits and pieces right here, it's that it's so easy to put a black and white perspective onto anything. That could be with opinions on media. That could be with opinions on entertainment properties. That could be with opinions on genuine real world events that are affecting all of us. And I think definitely going into this next year, keeping that open pipeline of conversation is going to be a crucial part. Because if 2024 went to I don't give an F university, I have a strong feeling 2025 is going to be the dean. It's going to be the headmaster. It's going to be the final boss. I treat this like Infinity War and Endgame. Like 2024, I've heard a lot of people say online, was a really good soap opera, which it was. But I treat it like Infinity War. It's set up for something that is going to absolutely blow our minds over these next 365 days. And for that, I do wish the best to everybody who's navigating that. Whether that be trying to pull yourself out of a rough situation or putting yourself in a better one, committing to a new skill set, or potentially breaking an old habit. Whether it's changing who you are fundamentally or just trying to improve on the person you already are. I wish you luck with all you hope to do in 2025, and definitely I at least hope that for what it's worth, even though I've just described the chaos, the fun, and the insanity of it for the last 20, 30-ish minutes, that 2024 has at least been a semi-enjoyable year for you. And that's about all I have, I'm pretty sure. So if you're watching this, I love you.